Is this heaven?
No, it's a podcast. Welcome to the Field of Geeks podcast.
Hello and welcome to Field of Geeks, episode 105. I'm Josh.
I'm Steve.
So today we got a special guest in the studio. Please welcome Chris and Brian from the Doctors Who podcast. Guys, welcome.
Hey, thank you. Yeah, thanks for having us on.
Sure. Happy to have you on. It's nice to know that more people in the Des Moines area are podcasting. You know, when we started this, I was hoping to maybe find some people who did the same thing, you know. And
network a little bit.
Yeah, gradually. You know, we met Dan Umpton, does the Doomcast. Now you guys.
Sure.
So, yeah, this is like a nice club we've got going here, and the more the better. So,
well, good show.
Yeah, good show. With that said,
Thanks for having us.
We're going to go drink some beer.
All right. Yeah. Forget the show.
Yeah, forget the show. Yeah, it's all right. It's all right. So, yeah, before we dive into our topics, let's get to know you guys a little bit better. What inspired you to podcast?
I think it kind of started out just as this joke, you know. We would get around and be like, we'd just be having fun and just chatting, and the chemistry would be great, and we'd just like, oh man, we should have a podcast.
Yeah.
I think we started the first time we ever mentioned this in all seriousness was when we were finishing up closing out a tab at a local brew pub, and
It was New American Brewing,
up
yeah,
in
which
Ankeny,
is actually closing,
unfortunately.
which is very
that's
sad.
too bad.
Sorry, I just had to share my sadness out loud.
But we
Was
were
your tab that big? They had it.
apparently it wasn't big enough.
It wasn't big enough. Yeah.
So we were there, and we kind of looked at each other, and there were some other people there with us at the bar, and we're like, we should make a podcast of this because we'd love to listen to this all the time. You know, and of course, this is after having a couple beers, and we had a driver, everything else. So we were just having a lot of fun, and it's like, well, maybe we should actually do this.
Yeah.
Turns out, you know, Brian actually had a bunch of the equipment.
Oh,
I had
awesome.
a computer that would record, and it's like,
Just put the two pieces together.
it's like, wow, we actually could do this.
Now,
That's awesome.
incredibly low budget, though. I mean, the first
Right.
episode, you know, when you first start out these podcasts, you're like, you have these grandiose ideas. We're going to have all of these clips in here. It's going to be a great show from the get-go, which it wasn't. I mean, it was fine.
Well, I mean,
but
I think the content was fine, but it just sounded like a couple amateurs. So we actually went back and we polished some of the first two episodes up, and we re-uploaded them. So if we have people coming in and they go back to the first one, they're not going to be like, "What? I'm not going to listen to this."
Yeah.
So it sounds a little better than it did.
Yeah, I've been tempted to go back and take out a few, maybe the first 10 or so.
Well, it's kind of fun sometimes too to see the metamorphosis. You know, as
It is,
a
yeah.
podcast develops. You
Sure,
know,
yeah.
you can always tell episode 1 versus episode 105, right?
Right.
I mean, it's a lot of
Although
fun to
you've got
watch.
us on 105. Is this 105?
105.
Yeah.
So you expect the bar to be a little lower.
I'm on the show. The bar couldn't get lower, so don't.
What were the trials and tribulations, get it, Star Trek,
Yeah.
podcasting so far?
well, there have been no tribbles, thank goodness.
Good.
Especially exploding ones. But we have. Well, this is going to be our 10th episode that we're recording. Oh, that's nice. 10th episode tonight, I think is what we're
No,
recording.
11th tonight.
11th?
Oh,
nice.
yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. So really, we've been trying to produce one a week. I think our big push, at least at the beginning, was trying to get an episode out a week. You know, sort of build that fan base and get people
Consistency.
interested. Consistency
Yeah.
is the hallmark of a good show. At least what we found.
Yes.
Our favorite podcasts are all, you know, that weekly type of program. So building there, but the problem is, I have 2 kids.
And so do I, and we live, I mean, we're both in Ankeny, so we're not far apart, but
Sure.
it's probably a 10-minute trek to get from one place to the other, and it's like coordinating with the wives. It's like, okay, I'm going to go to Brian's. If Michelle wants to come to my place and hang out with my wife, so it's...
Getting the wives on board with all of this.
Of course.
Yeah. Because we know we're awesome. Sometimes they need some convincing.
Yeah.
A little while to get on board sometimes. I understand.
Yeah, but I think another thing we find is that we try to stick to like a 30 to 45 minute range.
That's good.
At the high side, and We talk a lot.
We do have
trying to figure out how to get it down to that range. We've blown right by it a couple of times, and it's just like, whoops.
Definitely done that. Yeah.
We had one evening where we did. It was almost 2 hours on one session, and so we ended up breaking it apart. But it's those sort of production decisions that you have to do we want to split this? Do we want to just condense it down? There's just so much material. How do you fit a lot of? Well, we talk a lot about Doctor Who, but try to condense an entire episode or 2 episodes down into like 20 minutes.
Oh, geez. Yeah.
So it's difficult. Yeah. And just the fact that we like to, in addition to talking about the episodes, we have to usually go back and rewatch them because, there are hundreds of Doctor Who episodes, since the 1960s.
Right.
And so trying to go back and rewatch these before we talk about them. So it usually requires some time commitment and preparation outside of our podcasting time.
Exactly.
So we watched... I watched, because somebody fell asleep early last night.
Yeah.
I watched The Empty Child and The Doctor Dances last night, and I probably have like 6 pages of notes just to prep for our conversation tonight. So
nice.
Brian here has some catching up to do.
I made it through the first 3 minutes. Here are my notes so far.
Great.
I'm getting tired. That's it. That's awesome.
Hey, those notes are solid, though. You did great.
I use pen and everything.
Well, yeah, I got to say...
They're legible, I can tell you that.
Thank you.
From listening to your episodes, when you go into describing the Doctor Who episode you're watching, or you watched, I may have not seen it, but it feels like it's a good description. Like, I really feel invested. Like, I was listening to, I think, 10 yesterday, and I think I remember that episode. I think it was it Rose's
Father's Day, yeah.
Yes, yeah. I think I remember seeing that, and I was like, oh my God, that's cool. You guys broke it down, but you guys... talk more than just Doctor Who. Like in the beginning, that's what I thought. The title, which is a great title, but
the name actually came from the fact that we have both cosplayed as the Doctor at one point or another.
Nice.
And that was kind of a continuation of the We Should Podcast conversation. It's like, oh, this is kind of a clever title.
Sure.
So
props to Chris for coming up with it, and I just kind of went along because Chris is the idea guy here in the duo.
I'm the idea guy. He's the pretty one.
He's pretty good. I am really enjoying your shows. And
Thank you.
Thank you
very much.
You got something special there. And not to just keep talking about Doctor Who, which is, great. How would you rank the Doctors, all 13?
Oh, that's a really, really hard question.
Yeah.
I don't think science has figured this out yet either.
So I have to be perfectly honest. I would very occasionally, as a kid, stumble upon an old episode of like Tom Baker's stuff or something on PBS.
Yes.
I watched Red Dwarf as a kid, so that was usually like on right before that, and just some of the old ones, and maybe it was just like 13-year-old me, but it was just like, this is ridiculous. So I remember back, I think this was in the middle of David Tennant's run, my wife found it on Netflix and put it in the queue, and I was just like, no, we are not watching that. And just on a whim one night, we fired it up, and I was blown away, and we just started like binging the heck out of this thing.
That's one of those shows that I found that as a kid, I was the exact same way. Now, again, when I was a kid, it was the early 1830s, so this is a little bit past that.
The Doctor's probably there.
The Doctor was there, right? Yeah,
yeah,
there was still a Doctor, but I was the same way. I looked at it and I'm like, there's nothing really going on here,
right?
And it just feels so slow. And I'm young and I need to. ADD is really kicking in. So, but that's one of those things where usually, in your childhood, something doesn't stand up.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
This is one of those things where it's kind of in reverse. You go back and see it as an adult, and you're like, wow, there's
some substance.
There's merit to this.
Yeah.
Well, I went to a. Did I go with you or did I go with someone else? Back, they had a movie release, like kind of a re-release of a digital version,
like a lost episode.
They
had the audio for, but they had to fill in like the visual with animation.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay,
so they did. It was like an hour and a half long. It was Patrick Troughton, who was the second Doctor. He had something.
Looked like Mo. Right?
Yep. Yeah, he did.
Exactly.
He did. And he played the flute for people who are listening who know that like his big thing was like playing the recorder, the flute, whatever.
Right.
It's kind of like Picard in The Inner Light.
True.
Yeah.
But probably took it from that.
I'm sure it's all kind of connected somehow.
Oh, yeah.
But I liked it just because, again, recurring wise, one of my favorite characters or personas in all of Doctor Who are the Daleks. And so this was like the origin of the Daleks. The Power of the Daleks was the name of it. and kind of gave rise to the explanation of who they were and why they were significant, and just their nature of fighting the Doctors. So, like watching that in theaters kind of put things in perspective. That this whole Doctor Who franchise is way bigger than me.
Oh, it's huge.
It's it's spanned generations. It's just a cultural phenomenon.
Right.
Why do I not know more about this? And so that really hooked me in.
Well, and going back to the original question, I've gone through and I've watched some of the first Doctor, William Hartnell, and seen some Tom Baker, obviously seen, 9, 10, 11, and 12. Tennant is probably my favorite. I think a lot of people will say that.
Right. Sure.
But going back, as we've been rewatching like the Eccleston season, it's like, man, he is so good.
He's so dynamic.
He only did it for a season.
He did,
right?
yeah.
One season.
I liked him too. I love I think
phenomenal.
The first episode,
Yeah.
I'm not quoting it right, but he's talking about these. I think they're mannequins, right? That were
in the first one.
He's like da 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 da. Run for your life. He goes from like calm, and then he goes, run for your life.
Yeah.
Like, I love that. Direction there. I think he regrets stepping out.
Well, I know he had a falling out with like BBC management and things like that.
Yeah.
So that's
he's probably a thespian.
He.
Oh yeah,
I'm gonna be in G.I. Joe.
I'll
show you.
and the second Thor movie.
Right.
Yes. That's
right.
He was in Heroes too after that.
Oh yeah.
Was it?
Yeah, first season, right? I think
First or second, I can't remember, but he was.
He's a good actor.
He is.
But his Doctor was. I enjoyed it a lot.
Well, he has such a good range. Along with I just like the Doctors as well, because so many of them and the companions, they have like this classic background of acting, and so you can tell that they are good at their craft and that they work on this on a regular basis.
Yeah.
Again, a long time ago when HD was coming out, there was a big fear among actors that American actors would fall behind their British counterparts with the higher definitions, because the British had to go through Shakespearean training before they actually could act. They had to go through all of these.
So they would like emote better,
right?
And, they could do more acting,
as opposed to just looking pretty on the screen,
right?
Exactly,
right.
Exactly. Tatum was
Absolutely.
Like, crap.
Oh my gosh,
yeah. What's he done since? No, I'm kidding.
That's why we don't video podcast.
Yes,
exactly.
Among other reasons.
Right.
I told Steve, like, if we do video, I can blur him out and we can act.
Because I won't do video.
He's witness protection program.
Yeah, you could do like the light behind him and do like the shadow and like the voice modulation. I think that'd be a great effect.
Yeah, that would be awesome.
Like
I would
that,
do that.
yeah. Like he's a government agent, guys, and he wants to podcast. Makes sense.
But due to national security.
Nice. Yeah, I guess it is hard to rank them because they're all pretty good. Actually,
and actually, there was a short that they aired. It was just like an online thing. I think it was in advance of maybe the 50th special with the Eighth Doctor, Paul McGann, who was just in that movie in like 1998 or 1999. Yeah. I really dug his performance. I mean, it was only like a 10-minute clip, but I'm like, man.
Yeah.
I want to see more of him, and he does actually a lot of the audio dramas.
Oh, neat.
So you can go and you can download the audio dramas, and even like David Tennant and Billy Piper and Catherine Tate, they've all participated in these things as well. So you can go get these audio dramas of the Doctor's adventures with the original voice actors, which is really cool.
That's awesome.
I think he would have had it was a movie format, obviously, but I think it was probably the most Americanized version of Doctor Who.
It was actually produced over here, I think, wasn't it?
Yeah. McCoy, what's his first?
Sylvester.
Yeah,
Sylvester McCoy. Yeah,
I like Sylvester McCoy. Actually, there's something about him I like. It's an '80s thing. I don't know. He had the hat and everything, but how he regenerated in the Fox movie, I think it was like a big gang just shot him to death. I'm like, wow, that's
dramatic.
Intense. Yeah, but he made an appearance so he could transition over. But that whole. That was a brilliant idea for them to come up with the regeneration, because the first actor was, I don't know if he passed away or he's stepping down. They're like, crap, how are we going to do this? And I think that's helped keep it alive, and it could go on forever.
Yeah.
It's fantastic.
And it continues to do so as it goes into the next season, which I think will start...
It's like September or October, maybe? I don't know.
Do we get them right away? Right?
What I've done in the past, because we don't actually subscribe to a cable package, is we'll go out on like iTunes and just pick up the season for $30, and then 24 hours after it airs, it downloads and it's ready for you, and you can watch it.
You're current.
Yeah,
nice.
Yeah. Shifting away from Doctor Who a little bit, listening to your podcast, I like the genuine appreciation for beer.
Well, thank you.
Like it?
Yeah,
that was just, I love that. My wife was like, I want to try that, and it was kind of fun,
That's exactly what we're going for.
Right,
we want to generate some excitement so people are like, oh yeah, let's go find some of that.
Yeah, and we like the idea too of my wife is really big in the eat local type of scene, and so I think that there is now a plethora of breweries in our area. Might as well start trying some of those, some of the other ones from around our state, just getting as many different tastes of our area as we can.
Yeah,
there's a lot of good stuff out there.
Yeah, we're not just all cornfields.
And,
and we're gonna help drive the tourist boom too, then, right? Because people are going to be like, "Oh, now we have to go to Iowa to try this beer."
Yes. Well, both of us have reached other countries, I believe.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fantastic.
Our 4 hits from Saudi Arabia are kind of bizarre because they are like the strictest no alcohol country in the world.
Yeah,
like you get like lashed if you are caught with it.
Yeah.
So hopefully they won't be lashed listening to your podcast.
Right. That was my concern. I don't want to be responsible for that.
Right.
Just put a warning before the show
Disclaimer,
starts.
yes. What you were about to hear.
We won't say beer anymore. We'll say apple juice. That's what it is. Yeah, maybe it's soldiers. I don't know. You never know.
That could be, yeah. Or it's like
amazing how many people you reach. It's crazy.
It's like a VPN or something. It's just bouncing off an IP address out there, maybe.
Sure.
So
Which is possible, too. Who knows? We are, again, the Doctors Who podcast, and we are available on both Android and Apple iTunes.
As well as some other podcast players. If you use Podcast Addict, if you use Outcast, you can find us on Facebook. You can search for the Doctors Who podcast. You can look for us on Instagram at tdwpodcast, and that is also our Twitter handle and our email address at gmail.com. So
nice.
We'd love for you to come and check us out. And please, we love feedback. We'd love to hear from you, so feel free to reach out and tell us what you think.
Yeah.
That's great. Got a little warm-up question before we dive into the topics here. Lately, Sir Patrick Stewart, I don't know if you heard, he's coming back as Jean-Luc Picard. Not a big deal or anything.
Just your typical day-to-day, right?
Yeah. Whatever, it's nothing. I wish I was there when he announced that. God.
That would have been crazy.
He even cried. I'm like, dude.
Wow.
Star Trek Las Vegas is on my bucket list.
Oh, dude, that's the only convention to go to, right, for Star Trek?
In the States, I mean? Right, in the States, that's the big one.
I want to go there too, but every time I check it's not cheap.
No, it's not.
Oh my gosh. That's my goal, is to go to one of those and bring my wife, so she's just like, no.
I mean, and kind of tacking onto that, I think we are lucky in that I don't know about your wives, but our wives are like super nerds like we are, so they're all about that stuff.
She can be with some things, but
so Brian's wife
is not.
Yeah.
Brian's wife cosplayed as River Song. My wife did Jyn Erso from Rogue One.
Oh, come on.
She did Rose Tyler last year when I did 10th Doctor, so
wow.
It's been a lot of fun.
I'll just buy outfits for my wife, and she won't even know. I'm like, try this leather jacket, and it's blast.
Wow, that looks great.
Yeah. Tricked ya. With the announcement of Picard coming back, I was thinking, well, we're going to want to see some TNG cameos. I mean, come on, the universe is huge. In fact, you could tie up some loose ends if you wanted to. DS9 cameos. I mean, you could go
a whole bunch.
Sky's the limit, right?
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
But I was thinking, out of all the cast, there's one character that doesn't age, Data. So the question is, they have to bring him on. Come on, we have to. Nemesis was. I could go into that more. But it was like,
I understand.
that's it? Like, come on. But thankfully, they've had comics that have expanded. Like, I think there's one right now with, or was one, Geordi was commanding Enterprise G or whatever, and it was all Data's working the ship. It was really cool. He was all.
That's cool.
He was the ship's computer, and there was all these holograph images of him. So, I don't know if they probably can't afford to do all that. But the question is, Brent Spiner's older now, obviously.
And no offense to him, but he looks it too.
Yeah.
Unlike Patrick Stewart, he is actually aged.
Yeah, Patrick Stewart, he
looks fantastic.
Yeah, he's got a Lazarus pit behind his house or something.
Oh, I'm sure.
Gotta be. But how do we bring him back? If they're going to bring him back, would you say CGI, practical makeup, or a little bit of both?
Or even, I mean, I don't want to necessarily see this happen, but you almost wonder if they're going to bring on some sort of younger character actor to play that part.
Yeah, and I thought about that too, like a recast.
I hope they don't recast, because Brent Spiner was really, he played Data so well. There couldn't be anyone else who plays it as well as him.
Mark Zuckerberg.
That's good. That's good.
He has less emotion than Data, so I'm not sure.
Oh, yeah, that's a good point. Yeah.
It doesn't laugh. Well, you've seen the behind the scenes of like the Avenger movies with Vision. Paul Bettany, he's got ears, so his head sticks out with but they're able to like shrink that down in post. So
and even
something like that,
even like Harry Potter, like Voldemort removing the nose,
right?
Like that's all CGI.
Yeah.
There was no prosthetic makeup to hide Ray Fiennes' nose. Right. So,
and could you imagine what they could do with Data now with that CGI?
Oh, absolutely.
Before they'd have to like make a fake arm that could open up in circuits, and you could just go all over the place. But yeah, I'm sure Spiner would like to come back. I don't know if you'd like to get in the makeup again. They do a lot of work, but it would be really cool to see him. So.
It would be, yeah.
I don't know how to answer that. I just want him back. I don't want him to look old, though.
Right. Well,
my
question is, so, in some of our podcasts recently, we've been discussing the cost of some of these new shows or some of the reboots.
Yes.
And so, like, Discovery's second season is going to be roughly $10 million per episode. So you're talking, like, I wonder what the production value is on this type of show, bringing it back. They probably have a lot of money invested in this. They probably will have a team of CGI experts. That is certainly a possibility.
Yes.
This is not going to be a new show starting up. It's going to be continuing 20 years after where it left off.
Right.
So I'm sure they'll have that expectation for a built-in following. They'll have some money coming in right away from marketing teams, just everything. So I'm sure they'll probably do some CGI at least.
Oh,
I'm hoping that they
maybe
do.
a mocap.
Right.
Yeah.
that could be.
But
my concern with Discovery was, what if it's kind of a flop? Is this going to be a situation like the original Star Trek series where all of a sudden budget drops by half, and you can really tell, but, I'm glad that wasn't the case. Is this going to be just on the network, or is it going to be on the like the CBS app?
It's the all access streaming package.
Their goal is to do a whole year round of Star Trek.
Yeah, so that's basically
I like the goal.
What that thing is.
I do too.
Yeah.
Because honestly, since Discovery's been off, I get on there sporadically and I watch the old Hawaii Five-0 from the 70s.
Sure, yeah.
So that's about pretty much all I do.
Discovery, it's cinematic. It's nothing like we've seen before.
Yeah.
And it's nice to throw money at it,
Oh, yeah. They care about their end product, and it certainly shows. You look at the quality of what they put up on screen, all of the effects, all of the makeup, the lighting. It looks like a well put together show.
It's not a joke. I mean, they're not just throwing something out there. Hey, this is our original online content. Let's see what happens. I mean, they went after it.
It's motion picture quality.
Yeah, it's perfect.
And I think Frakes, when he directed, he said all those display screens you see are real. Like, that's how crazy with the LED and all that stuff.
Wow.
Like,
That's awesome.
that nuts. Like, TNG was just like bleep, 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 bleep. And they probably put something in post.
Yeah.
But,
Well, and like
incredible.
the original Star Trek, having the lights behind the wall, that kind of a thing going on. I mean, it was just. But at the time, that was pretty cool.
Sure.
I mean,
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on season 2? Did you enjoy the trailer? What's your hopes?
Trailer is awesome. Really like the modern take on the classic uniform, where you can see that it has elements of the season 1 Discovery uniform, and it also has the very distinctive elements of the original series.
Yes.
And I would imagine as the seasons progress, as you get closer to that time frame where you have a Kirk and a Spock on the Enterprise, that they're going to work on continuing to evolve that. So I'm not going to say seamless, because you're talking about a property that's from the 60s, and you need to modernize it a little bit, but making it flow so that it looks like a believable transition, I think, is going to be their ultimate goal.
They're really sharp, those outfits.
Yeah.
I don't know. Well, do you think they'll explain why they have different outfits, because you saw the Admiral in the first season, they all had the blue outfits, and all of a sudden you got this color. It's like,
I would imagine that when you're out in the far reaches of space, right? Back on Earth, Starfleet Command's like, okay, we're gonna change out the uniforms.
right.
yeah.
I'm betting the ships that are way out there don't get the new ones until they come back in to a starbase or Earth to rendezvous, resupply, that sort of thing. So
Sure. And then Starfleet's got to change their mind again, because 10 years before, they'll go back to the other suits.
I don't know if you guys have had this happen too, but within the last month and a half, we had changes to our dress code at work. It's like every once in a while we come out with some sort of like addition or subtraction from the dress code.
Yeah.
And so
Hy-Vee does it with their cashiers.
all the time.
I used to wear cans and bottles in a tie dress shirt.
Oh, there you go. Yeah.
I was miserable.
Yeah.
Hot.
Yeah.
Maybe that's Starfleet's way. They'll never address it, probably, because, when you go from TNG season 2 to 3, they don't address the uniform change. It's not like they come out and go, number 1, how's this look?
Right, yeah.
All right. They're not so tight.
Have you gained weight, Captain?
Yeah. Riker's like, this is so much room. This is going to be great. I'm going to fill this
That was like
sucker
Kirk
up.
at the end of the season.
Yeah.
You know?
Oh, dude. The hair, the gut. Yeah. It's like, whoa, what happened, man?
Frakes is like, I don't have to wear the girdle anymore.
Right.
The future of Star Trek, you've heard about the Star Trek 4 debacle with the salaries, which Paramount's got a bad history with. They gave us some good Star Trek movies, but they cut that budget like one movie at a time. It's like, you know, motion picture was like huge, and then Wrath of Khan, they had to just be creative.
It was a minuscule budget, and what they were able to do with that budget was
awesome.
And they didn't save sets. It's like, what?
Wow.
They should have sent them to me.
Yeah, no kidding.
Right?
No kidding. Well, an actual lady took the sets, and I think she eventually got the job to. That's what she does. She stores the sets. But you kind of need those. You need at least one of those Chris's who plays Captain Kirk, Chris Pine. They would be really stupid to say we're going to recast. Put the money in it. Come on. Yeah, I mean, I know the last one. I liked the last one.
I did too.
I think the marketing. Even Simon Pegg has said the marketing hurt that movie.
Whoever marketed that thing did a very good job.
Yeah,
right. Not at all.
Yeah, Paramount just they have a bad history. I don't know. I think CBS is helping with the episodes being so expensive looking.
Sure.
Because I don't see Paramount wanting to cut the check for that.
Right.
No.
Yeah.
No.
It's just it's nuts.
It is too bad. Hopefully they'll come to some sort of resolution on that piece of it. But again,
I hope so, because that's how we get our Quentin Tarantino Star Trek afterwards, right? He's not a fan.
That makes me nervous.
I don't know how to.
Well, the hard thing with
I don't know how they could do that.
it's like you look at I don't know, the Hateful Eight, Grindhouse. Like I can't imagine Star Trek going to that length. Like it seems like a completely different universe.
First person that holds a phaser sideways.
Strap one on.
It's going to be Sam Jackson, just so you know.
Right.
I will find that.
He'll be cruising around talking about Royale with cheese on.
Beam me up, mother. Yeah, I don't want to hear it. You know.
Although Sam Jackson as a captain would be kind of cool.
Yes, it would.
Yeah.
He's in everything else. He might as well be in this one.
Why not?
He's been a Jedi Master. Why not a starship captain? Right?
Why not? I think
These mother effing snakes off his mother effing starship.
tribbles. You can do tribbles.
Yeah.
I think Star Trek's future it's looking good so far. I'm really excited. I just
but unfortunately, I think a lot of the positive things are coming out of CBS and not Paramount.
Right.
You're right. You're absolutely right. Yep. Yeah. Because right now it's like you can't afford to lose Chris Pine. If you're going to do this cast, you have to have Chris Pine.
He's the face.
You need continuity.
Recast the
his star recognition right now is through the roof. Same with Chris Hemsworth.
Yeah, and they deserve to be paid more.
They do.
You know.
So yeah,
they just don't want to pony up the money.
Right.
You know, they want to keep that budget low and.
Well, and you know, I get the executive mentality because I know they're morons, and so they're thinking, well, the financial success of the last movie, we don't really want to spend this much more. But the problem wasn't that. The problem was the marketing.
Yeah,
you know?
it was.
And
yeah.
This wasn't.
They made it look like Fast and Furious in space.
Right. You know, and this wasn't a situation where it was a cast or anything else. I mean, because the quality of that movie was actually pretty great.
It was.
Yeah.
You know,
so many homages, especially that picture. It almost made me cry when you saw that Star Trek 6 picture, them on the bridge.
Oh yeah.
Right. Oh yeah.
Oh my God, that's so
powerful
cool.
moment.
Yeah. I'm like, this movie's gonna make so much money, and it's like
that
why?
made me. I already liked Simon Pegg, but after that film, I loved Simon Pegg.
Yeah.
He had the heart for it. That was great.
He did a good service to the fans, and it's a shame it didn't. It made money, but I don't get it. I don't get it.
I feel like that's one of those where sometimes you get those cult classic movies that don't do well in initial goes, but then once it hits, I don't know, TBS or whatever, then you start seeing the numbers go up. Or digital downloads go up, something like that.
Shawshank, for instance,
bombed
at the box office.
And now it's like on 24/7.
Yeah.
It's considered practically a masterpiece.
Yeah.
So
I agree. I can watch that over and over again.
And there are people like me and people like Brian who don't necessarily go to the theater to see some things. Like we'll make a point, like Infinity War, we made a point to go see that one.
Sure.
Because there was no way that was going to be spoiled for me.
Right.
Right. That was tough too.
Yes, it was.
Oh God, shut up! I got to see the movie.
Yeah.
They killed Luke. I can't believe it. What? Oh, wrong movie.
Not my Luke. Oh, not my Luke. That'll be interesting how they handle the data situation and Star Trek overall. So
and maybe we'll get to see Wesley Crusher 20 years later.
Dude, I would be with shoulder pads, all that.
Yeah.
That would be cool. Hey, Big Bang's ending, so
he's got some
he
time.
could use a job.
That's true.
Yeah.
And he has, if you we had an opportunity to see one of his panels.
Oh, nice.
2 years ago.
2 years ago?
Yeah.
And he has nothing but love for that franchise.
Sure.
And I think he regrets making the decision to step away when he did.
Yeah, he had a beautiful speech, in a way you could say. He had at a panel years ago, and you might have seen it, but they had the whole cast up there, and he basically apologized for being that way, and he was going
a teenage douche.
Yeah. And he said he was nervous to ask them to come to his wedding because he didn't know if they would show up.
Sure.
Yeah. Well, hindsight's 20/20, and this is a guy who is clearly has a love for it,
Oh, yeah.
and he does so many cool things.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
The guy's he's awesome.
I'd like to see more of him for sure. In movie news, let's talk Oscar changes. For many years, we've had these blockbuster films, and a lot of people, of course, MTV has recognized these films over the years. Best Kiss, which I hope that's never a category at the Oscars, but...
Yeah, I've won that 4 years in a row.
Nice. High five.
Love your work, man. Love your work.
Yeah, I appreciate it. Thank you.
So they've announced a few changes this year. One is a new category, Outstanding Popular Film. And they're going to air the show earlier on in the year. And it's going to be a strict 3 hours running time.
So you'll hear the music after 3 seconds of
Thank
thank yous.
yous. It's going to be like, thank you, cut,
Right.
go. This has caused a lot of controversy with celebs. And I think I'm an Oscar fan, and I'm glad they're recognizing the films, but I almost feel like it's kind of like a pity award. Like, oh, you're so close, but
most improved movie.
Yeah,
here you go.
Yeah, here you go.
You made a lot of money, but this is schlock. But we're going to recognize you. Yeah.
Isn't this cute award?
Yeah,
Right.
That's really what it is.
Yeah, that Black Panther was something.
Oh, come on.
Wakanda. Right. All right. I'm going to get my Best Picture award. You guys suck. Yeah, so, a lot of people might not know this, but back in 2001 was the last time they added a category, which was Best Animated Feature.
Oh, okay.
Which is pretty much the Disney Award.
Sure.
If
Pretty
they're
much.
nominated. I imagine
Pixar and,
Yep.
imagine those other guys don't even get a speech. Like, is Disney nominated? All right.
Yep.
I'll go for the food.
I thought that was a great inclusion, though.
It was,
because
I would think
so.
Those movies are very quality.
They are.
It's tough to get them all.
Yeah.
I mean, it sucks that you almost kind of need this category just because they've nominated like 10 films before, and it's like you can get up to like 20, 30 films before you know it. And
Right.
how are you going to narrow that down to one film?
Well, it wasn't the last time something in this genre, whether it's comics, science fiction, fantasy, wasn't the last winner of a Best Picture, wasn't that like the Lord of the Rings trilogy?
Yes. Yes.
So-
and that was after the whole
That was
thing.
all three of them. Yeah,
Yeah.
they decided to wait until all three of them
I
concluded.
mean, I would like to say like they finally were like we should recognize them, but yeah, it's all strategy. It's very
It is.
it's politics, the dynamics of what goes on behind the scenes, and
Yeah.
it's crazy. Like the Directors Guild, all these guilds have to nominate, and if you don't play ball, you're out. What do you think about this popular film category?
I kind of looked into some of the history of some of my favorite movies and how they've done, and so it seems like I really like the superhero movies or
Yes.
some of these science fiction movies, and strangely enough, they don't seem to win Best Picture very often.
Right.
You have to go back to Lord of the Rings.
I
You have
think
to look
didn't
back at-
Heath Ledger win something for
He won
his
something for
performance as
Batman.
Joker? Yeah.
Yeah.
And then you have to go back to like. Tim
But if he
Burton's
hadn't
Batman.
died, would he have?
I know,
Right.
and I don't think so.
Yeah.
No.
Sadly, but I
Just
think
because of the
deserved it.
genre, right?
Yeah.
Deserved it
Yeah.
though. Yeah.
But you look
Exactly.
at, it seems like, unfortunately, the Oscars sometimes go for movies that are not, like they're critically acclaimed, but they're not money makers.
They're not commercially.
They're not
successful.
commercially successful, which
Yes.
is fine. Like I understand, but then you should really call the award that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
They get the pity award. Like,
Exactly.
oh,
yeah,
You win
Counter
the
money over here.
hoity-toity Best
Yeah.
Picture award. Yeah.
no one saw you, but here's this award anyway. I don't know. Like looking at some of the frontrunners for the coming year, Black Panther actually is it is likely to be nominated for Best Picture, which would be a first in several years for a.
Well, and tacked onto that, I think I saw yesterday, the day before, that Marvel is actually aggressively campaigning and marketing for that, and they've hired like a specialist to help them do that appropriately so it gets due consideration.
Yes.
So I think it's the first time Marvel's actually taken those steps.
Right. Kevin Feige himself said that, they're going to have some kind of campaign. I don't know what for. You could say it's for the popular film category. I mean, sadly, you got to take that gamble. Like, we
Right,
could
yeah.
really try it for Best Picture. It's probably not going to get it.
Right.
Popular, obviously, is going to get it.
Right.
But I think they can put their eggs in two baskets there, because they've
Sure.
got Black Panther that they can market as a Best Picture, and then they've got Infinity War, which made a buttload of
Yeah.
cash
Yes.
and was very well received by fans.
Sure.
So you can kind of divide your strategy there and go for both.
Yeah,
right.
I agree. I don't know. Maybe the title I don't like. The popular film, like
Yeah.
kind of
Yeah.
different title.
Yeah.
So does that imply the others are unpopular?
Yeah,
Right.
right. I mean, just call it Blockbuster Award or something. I
I
don't know.
They might as well just say, "Oh, this is a popular movie. It's not necessarily good, but here's a popular one
Right.
we'll give." Right. You know. So, and I don't know.
The guy who presents it's just wearing a T-shirt, just like, "Hey, man, you won."
Right.
Yeah.
He's chewing gum.
Jack Black always presents the award.
Jack Black, he's cool.
That'd be awesome.
He could like sing it and stuff.
Right.
It'd be awesome. Yeah.
Sweet, I like it. Yeah.
Yeah, but with a shorter runtime, it's going to take a spotlight away from other awards. It'll be behind the scenes.
So they're reducing the total hours the Oscar airs, and they're also adding an additional category. So what does that look like?
Right,
Yeah.
exactly. Well, right now with honorary Oscars, they award that at Governor's Ball a month before, and I think they used to do it at the ceremony. So it's going to be like, "Hey, Mom, you're not going to see me. I'll get this taped and send it to you."
Yeah.
Yeah.
I did look it up too. Logan in 2018 was actually nominated for Best Adapted Screenplay.
It won, didn't it, or no?
I think it just said nominated.
Sorry, I don't mean to put it on the spot.
No,
I thought it won.
Maybe it might have won. It was the only one of the nominations that I recognized.
I will say this: Patrick Stewart should have got nominated, and I think it's because
Absolutely.
I think
For that
yeah.
performance, yeah.
I saw that when I watched it in we watched it in black and white, didn't we?
Yep.
And so I looked at that and I was like, Patrick Stewart looks like he's like 95.
He
Lost-
looked like hell.
Lost 20, 30 pounds.
He was crazy.
He had it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. But I think it also hurts when films release so early in the year. Like, you almost have to release close
do.
to get the...
So it's fresh in everybody's mind.
Exactly,
Absolutely.
exactly. But
Yeah.
I so badly wanted him to at least get a nomination.
Yep.
That performance was wonderful. I mean, and there was no... there wasn't too many special effects. I mean, he wasn't in like a fancy suit. Like,
No.
he was... If it wasn't a comic book related film, yeah, I think
I mean,
he
that
would've
would've won.
that was
Sure.
one that, obviously there was some CGI around, like the claws and things like that.
course.
But for
Oh,
the
yeah.
most part, everything was, I think, practical effects.
Sure.
So for a comic book movie, it was very grounded.
Yes,
Yeah.
of course. Well,
Very rewatchable too. I've
Yeah.
watched it
Yeah.
multiple times.
Yeah.
It's
very
great.
good. It's very good. I mean, look at Titanic. That won Best Picture, and that had a lot of CGI.
Right.
Well, yeah.
And everyone knew the ending to that movie before it even started.
When they gonna die?
Yeah.
Right.
My
They-
favorite
they
shot
kinda-
from that is still like when the boat goes up and you
cracks.
see
Or- oh, the
you see the CGI guy fall and like smack off the prop as he goes down. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Oh, CGI guy, no. It made Rose and what's his face? I'll call him Leo. I know Jack.
Jack,
Yeah, that's right.
They basically took the blame for the driver being distracted. He's looking at them kiss, and he's like, "Oh, that's cute. Oh, he's Boog." And it's like, okay,
Oh,
Yeah.
too late now.
okay, James Cameron.
Yeah.
Jeez. So I don't know if a lot of you are Bond fans. I am.
Yeah.
Bond 25. This has been delayed because Craig has other projects, obviously.
Sure.
So Danny Boyle was going to direct this film, which I was very excited about. And I also was excited because he's bringing on his writer who did Trainspotting.
Uh-huh.
So this would be the first movie that wasn't written by Neil Purvis and Robert Wade since The World's Not Enough. I think would have been really fresh. And I'm guessing he did depart over creative differences, Danny Boyle, unfortunately. I think it's probably he had something that was just more for a new Bond, I'm guessing. I have no idea. But it seemed like the idea he had scared them. And they're like, no, we're not going to do this.
Yeah.
Craig's last movie, by the way.
Right.
So you don't want to just amp it up. And he's like, bye.
Yeah.
It was going to come out November 2019. So I don't know if that's going to happen still.
Well, I heard that they were only a couple months away from the beginning of shooting. And
Yes.
you can't just
Yeah.
replace a director that fast.
No.
I mean, if you're talking about departing due to creative differences, that sounds like there's something fundamentally wrong between the director and the writers, and they just can't come to an agreement.
Yes.
I don't know who you would find on such short notice that would even want that position.
Right.
So I think I saw a rumor that Edgar Wright is going to step in and do it.
I would welcome that. But again, Marvel was like, no, dude. And
Yep.
would they do that with him, you think? Or would he do that with
Yeah.
them, you know? Like, maybe he can't write it? Because I think they had a script before.
They did.
Damn.
Well,
I have to wait forever now.
And what sucks too is the fact that this is going to be Daniel Craig's last
Yes.
Bond movie, and so this is he drew so much criticism at the very beginning simply because he had blonde hair. At the very beginning, people were
Yeah.
upset because he didn't look like the
Yeah.
stereotypical Bond. He didn't look like Pierce Brosnan.
Oh, they were brutal with him.
Right.
So brutal.
And he did
Yeah.
so good.
I thought it was Casino Royale was still one of my favorite movies. That was such a fun, just typical James Bond film. I loved everything about it, and Quantum of Solace, all of those movies, fantastic. So I don't know, if you switch directors, do you just, I don't want to say just like can the project, because I'm sure they've already sunk a lot of money in this, sure. But, Daniel Craig is on his way out. How long do you want him to stick around?
I think.
Yeah.
He's going to be Roger Moore looking soon if we don't watch it.
Right. Well, the Onion came out with some news.
Yes.
They wanted to put their suggestion in for the new Bond to replace Daniel Craig. They wanted Wallace Shawn.
Now, that might be inconceivable.
Oh, I see what you did there.
For people who don't know, Princess Bride, he's the dude that drank the poison. He's got a lisp, I guess, or bald.
Yeah.
So, totally Bond material.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Definitely, yeah. He can pull it off.
The Onion is still my favorite news outlet.
By far. Yes.
It's scary, though, when I start agreeing with them on some of their suggestions.
Yeah, you're like, I guess he would do a good Bond. Yeah, let's give him a toupee. Sure, why not?
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe Craig will just walk away if they wait too long, honestly.
The rumor mill's already been churning, like Idris Elba, and I think he's come in and he said, no, it's...
I would be for it, but I think he's too old. Like, he's pushing 50, man.
He couldn't be a long-term solution.
No.
Maybe one or two films, that's it.
You just need to get a young guy who's kind of like what Sean Connery was, but pay him well so he's not like pissed at you in the future.
Right. And maybe make the filming schedule a little less hellish so it doesn't like just beat the crap out of the actor.
Yes. They just need to knock out they could even start redoing some of the old films, because some of the old films are true to the book, so you could do that.
They are.
Yeah. I loved Casino Royale. I walked out of the theater like, I am all in. I was against his casting, but I turned around and I've liked them all. Spectre I have issues with. I think it's a big repeat of Skyfall in a way. I do like some of it, but some of it's like, oh, you could have wrote that better. Come on.
I've seen this before.
Right.
Yeah, exactly. It looked expensive. So.
It did. I'm sure it was.
So, comic news. Hit Girl. We all know that, I think, from the Kick-Ass films. Apparently she has a comic series. Forgive me, I didn't know. It's called The Golden Age of Hollywood. So Kevin Smith has a 4-story arc coming out in January. I think it's going to start with issue 13. And this is published by Image Comics. And it's going to be her taking on Hollywood predators. So I'm thinking Harvey Weinstein cameo, maybe.
Sure, yeah.
That'd be cool, right? That would be like a Kingpin or something like that.
I thought you meant like the monster predators.
Yeah. Oops, my bad.
Maybe they can get Danny Glover for that.
Maybe. Yeah.
So this project was announced back in May. Smith doing this. I had no idea. He's been hinting at a big project coming up he's going to be doing, and I almost thought that's what this was, but it's not. It's just something he was already going to do. I'm not sure what that project is yet, but I am definitely looking forward to finding out. Maybe a Clerks 3, finally. I don't know. Probably not.
But supposedly he has the script. No, it was from Allrats 2. He apparently has a script already for a couple of these other movies kind of sitting in his back pocket. Yeah. So maybe this will be the launch pad for some of those.
He needs to have a lot of success for, I think, studios to okay him to do these follow-up films. I'm dying for a Clerks 3.
Right.
I think he wrote it. It was one actor who did not want to return, and I'm not sure who it was, but we need to find them and talk them into it right now.
Road Trip.
Yeah, Road Trip. There you go. Hit Girl was created by Mark Millar, who said, and I'm paraphrasing a little bit, he said, Kevin is one of my favorite people in Hollywood. He writes the way I wish people talked. His intelligence and humor fits into the world perfectly. I would agree.
I'd agree too, and I think the only downside is that he doesn't stick with his comic projects very long because he's got a zillion things going on.
He does.
I mean, you have to understand,
all kinds of
stuff. But like his Green Arrow run, I love his stuff, and then when he's gone, it's he's gone, and so
did he do the Longbow Hunters? Or
no.
Am I getting those confused?
The Longbow Hunters was early. That was Mike Grell.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
He did Batman 66 crossover with Green Hornet. I collected all those issues. That was the first series I collected in years.
Yeah.
But I still haven't read them.
Yeah.
I just collected them, but I'll get to them eventually.
Sacrilege.
Yeah.
You're grounded.
I know. I'm sorry.
Go sit and think about what you do.
Right.
Okay. Yeah, but I think that's a great mix of his talents for this arc he's going to be doing for Hit Girl. It's a character that got a lot of attention from the films, and They keep talking that she may have her own film eventually. Won't be the same actress, but I'll definitely be tuning into this. It comes out January 2019, obviously. So.
Nice.
That's all I got for comics. You got anything?
Just, I picked up the most recent Action Comics and Superman, and, Bendis is still just killing it. Nice. In his early run with Superman so far. I mean, so that's pretty sweet. A lot of cool cliffhangers at the end of every single issue,
Sure.
And so it's been pretty cool.
How many issues into the run are you?
I think Action 1002 just came out, so he's 3 issues into that now, and then Superman, I want to say it's the second or third issue in.
Nice.
So it's just still fairly early on, and each has their own separate story arc going on. But just phenomenal. It's a lot of fun. If you like Superman, you'll love Superman now. But
awesome.
And then the other one, we talked about Fantastic Four last week, the new relaunch. That was amazing. But Hawkman 3 came out, and Hawkman's been a running joke, kind of like an Aquaman, for all the different iterations of the character and just how confusing it is. And they are really doing a great job embracing that confusion in the history.
Sure.
And diving into why that is. And I mean, it's very smart writing. Almost Indiana Jones meets Hawkman type of a feel to it.
Wow.
It's really, really cool. I've enjoyed it so far. So,
excellent.
Yeah.
I started recollecting right around the time the New 52 hit, and then I petered out, and I've not re-engaged since.
Right.
So with you saying the Superman run was really good, I was like, ooh, because I grew up on like the 77 Donner Superman, and he's been my consistent favorite superhero for years.
Start with Action 1000.
All right.
There's still a lot of prints out there of that, and it was really great.
He's got the trunks back, right?
He's got the trunks back.
Speedo.
But,
That's good. I was concerned about his underwear situation.
It feels like it's missing when you see the Henry Cavill. Like, I love the suit, but sadly, that kind of makes it. I know it's ridiculous, but...
Well, I mean, just from a costume perspective, I think it helps kind
break
of
that blue
structure and break it up a little bit.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's a better look, so...
Yeah.
Maybe in future films he'll have it.
Maybe.
Who knows if they ever greenlight a Man of Steel too.
Yeah, please.
Wow. Talk about another group of execs we could
oh boy.
Stupid.
Don't get me started on Warner.
I know.
Wow.
They just don't get it.
Oh jeez.
I don't understand it.
I've been in management since the early 90s, and every time Warner makes a decision, I just want to fire about 5 people over there.
Yeah.
And they end up doing that when the project fails.
Right.
They do.
But their problem is their lack of foresight, and their proactive vision doesn't exist.
No, they're reactive. They're not proactive.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. We gotta get you on the board there, Steve, so you can right the wrongs.
I can even hear the revolving doors swinging as we speak.
Yeah.
Exactly.
You can hear a box being packed.
The only safe wing at Warner right now is the Wonder Woman.
Right, yeah.
No kidding.
84,
Well, and that was the big thing that I found with Bond, actually, was the fact that they had that November 8th movie release, which is the week after Wonder Woman. You have to think that the execs for Wonder Woman are like, finally some good news, you know, because they were butting up right against because it's Wonder Woman 1984. I think that's the movie.
Yep.
Yes.
You know, get a little bit more breathing room between then and the Christmas season. So
it's going to be very interesting in the future with Disney. They're acquiring Fox properties. Like, they can't really put their movies up against each other. So how's that going to work?
Well, I think it's going to come down to the streaming services.
I agree, because streaming. There's a film coming out. I don't recall what it's called. Chris Pine's in it. It's going to be on Netflix soon. He's playing the Scottish Knight.
Oh, interesting.
He sounds okay, but it's a Netflix film, and it looks like you go to see it in the theater.
Nice,
so,
cool.
Well, their quality is just outstanding anyway. Marvel, Netflix.
That'll probably be the route in the future, I bet.
Yeah, sure.
Streaming, fortunately. I mean, I don't want the theaters to ever go, though. But
I'm not complaining. I mean, we got a lot of great quality out there. So.
I know. We are spoiled.
Well, and I almost think some stories lend themselves better to episodic formats than a 2.5-hour motion picture.
Build the characters up,
absolutely,
a little bit.
Like Lord of the Rings, as great as it was, there was so much that was in the books that wasn't in the movies. That if they had done this over the course of 3 seasons, they could have captured a lot of that detail and fleshed that out and made it more faithful and robust.
Right. And no casual fan knows who Tom Bombadil is.
Right. Yeah.
I was going with that. Nice.
I think that's going to be an Amazon series now, Lord of the Rings.
It's supposed to, I think.
They said supposedly Peter...
producing?
Yeah,
there was a rumor that he might be, but I'm going back through and I'm reading Fellowship of the Ring right now, and just like it's been years since I've read it, and just like it's like literally years from the time Bilbo left the Shire to when Frodo realizes it's the ring. It's like 11 years or something like that.
Really?
So it's, just the way they've accelerated some things. And like when he gets stabbed by the Nazgul blade, they're still like, they're 17 days in the wilderness before the elves find him. So just like some of the time frames and things like that, just noticing the differences there. It's like, oh, wow.
Yeah.
So
that'd be interesting.
That's movie world, you
right?
gotta,
Yeah.
Condense it down somehow.
Although The Hobbit was one book, right, and 3 movies.
Don't get me started.
I know. A group of friends and I watched the first Hobbit, and it turned into just making fun of it, sadly, because they would do like a little action. Let's go sit down and smoke. I'm like, oh my god, what's going on?
It was one of those things where, like, the Lord of the Rings trilogy for me is just almost perfection.
Yeah.
I could watch those at any time, all day long. But The Hobbit for me was like really cool parts. And an insanely long, drawn-out nightmare.
Yeah, it really was.
That's a good synopsis.
Yeah.
That is. Well, prepare to see more Lord of the Rings material, because I think the last heirs of the Tolkien family, I think the rights are gone, and I think someone purchased them. So you're going to see Pez dispensers.
What? Really?
Maybe.
Interesting. No, I mean,
I hope not,
I wasn't aware the rights transferred.
We reported it like months ago, but yeah, it was like the last heir sold his rights finally, and
Is that Christopher Tolkien?
I believe so.
Yeah.
So he was keeping.
That shocks
me.
me.
A lot of people wanted to do other things with the
Sure.
and he didn't. He put his foot down. So now it's like free game.
It's open season. Yeah.
Yeah, it's gonna be interesting. Hopefully, they don't do too much.
Well, and I think Amazon is actually collaborating with the Tolkien estate on this.
Yes.
So
then that's good.
That's positive to me.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Just they probably have a little bit more creative control possibly.
Sure.
Here. Yeah, it'll be interesting. Moving into TV news, Big Bang Theory has announced it's ending 2019. Now, I know over the years, I think it's become more popular with non-geeks than geeks.
Yeah.
In the beginning, though, to me, it spoke to me, and I was kind of, we had that geek culture boom. I think, I don't know if it was 2008 it happened, kind of.
Sounds about right.
Yeah, I still had my cool stuff, but I would never wear a Batman shirt or anything like that. And then it was this show, and of course the success of the Marvel films, Dark Knight, that got me like, hey, I'm proud I like this stuff. I'm gonna wear this, I'm gonna talk about this, I don't care if you laugh at me.
We actually had an episode where we talked about this thing specifically.
Yeah.
And that Big Bang Theory and some of those things were some of the contributing factors as to, I'm out and about in a Stark Industries t-shirt today, right? I mean,
I'm the only one not representing right now. I'm formal.
Sort of.
Okay, this is the second time you're going to have to go think about what you've done.
Right.
So
one more strike and you're
no. I still like the show. I think it was more strong in the beginning, obviously.
Sure.
I mean, gosh, 12 years. It's going to be hard to keep that momentum going.
Absolutely.
And pleasing everybody.
My dad in particular loves the show.
Yeah.
And he maybe understands me a little better now by watching that
Yeah.
show.
That helps,
Yeah.
right?
So-
right? Yeah.
Well, it's kind of a generational thing. 20, 30 years ago, this wasn't a big deal. There weren't any comic book movies that came out on a regular basis. And now that it's kind of infiltrating popular culture, people who are not into these things can look at this and say, well, now I understand your position. I understand where you're coming from, why these things are cool, because I see these people on TV who know all about it.
Yeah, and there's so much more commercial viability, behind it, and it's just it's really made a strong impact, So, and that show is a big part of that.
Absolutely. Now, I don't know if you guys still watch the show. A lot of people have kind of just...
No, I was never heavy into it.
No. Yeah.
My wife watched the first season or so shortly after it came out, and she came back from a weekend with a friend after they binged it, and she's like, it's like living with you. I said, I'm going to take that as a
So
compliment.
she doesn't need to watch the show.
That's right. And at one point they referenced the Klingon dictionary, and I was like, hey, I've got mine right here.
Yeah.
awesome.
I remember they go
So
to
awesome.
Penny's boyfriend's house, who's, kind of a bully type of guy, and forgive me, but what's Worf's Klingon weapon?
The Batleth.
The Batleth, yeah.
Sheldon brings that, and I just like, dude, that's funny.
That's awesome.
That's so cool. Yeah, it had a lot of great moments, but I think over time people feel it's more laughing at geeks than celebrating it. I don't know. I mean, you could take it either way, I think.
If you have the bravery to dive into the comment section of the internet, you will see very split opinions where some people are very vehemently against it because of the way they feel it portrays people in this subculture, and you have people that are very much for it because of the awareness it raises. So you're never going to make everybody happy.
That's true.
But
That's true.
I think it's done more good than it's done harm.
Yeah, I would say that. I would say that for sure. And geez, it's probably helped sell so much merchandise. They go to a comic store, see the Batman utility belt, and it's like, oh, geez, all this stuff's really cool.
And side note, you not knowing that Klingon weaponry, it was strike 3. So
all right. Turn over my notes.
You need to take a sip of that.
Right. There you go.
Back to us. That's your penance.
Bottle.
Yeah. Don't do that. I don't want to drive you to the hospital.
No.
Hey, kids. Hi. I'm sad to see it go, but yeah, I think it probably should have ended a couple years back. Just kind of go out on a high note. The rumor is Jim Parsons decided to step down, and
well, it's been a long time. I don't blame him.
No, I don't either. I mean, geez, he's they're all actors, so they want to do other things.
And you have the fear of being typecast, obviously, and he may already be in that bucket.
Right.
Well, and if young Sheldon keeps going, which in the beginning I thought was a terrible idea, but it's not a terrible show. He does the voiceover on it. And the kid that got to play him is pretty spot on.
Nice.
So maybe he'll keep doing that.
Sure.
Who knows if the show's coming back?
Right.
I don't know.
Yeah, sure. Well, heck, it's going to come back as a Netflix show in 20 years.
Right.
Yeah,
that's true.
Yeah.
That's true.
Old Sheldon.
It's like After MASH.
Right.
Like, there was an After MASH? I didn't know that.
Senior citizen years.
Ooh, this is awesome. Well, last thing I got, guys, is just any recommendations, things you've seen lately or read, just... If you want to recommend anything, go for it. Deadpool 2 just came out, so definitely go see that. Go buy it, rent it. I haven't really seen all the features yet, but I did come across something on the internet, so hopefully it's true. Let's say it is.
Oh, it's on the internet. It has to be.
That's what Abraham Lincoln said, right?
He did say that.
Wikipedia, right? Wikipedia. That's not fake.
Yeah.
No, I didn't get it from Wikipedia, but according to Cosmic Book News, Mark Miller may have parted the Deadpool 2 project because he wanted to bring the Fantastic Four in.
Oh, wow.
And he wanted to bring the ones from the last film. But,
like Miles Teller and...
Yes, which I think the cast was fine.
The cast was okay. It was just...
behind the scenes, and it was a crazy movie.
Yeah.
We'll have to
I still contend from a CG perspective, they nailed the Thing. That was as cool as the Thing has looked on screen ever. I mean, that was awesome.
I totally agree. They were going to just change the uniforms, obviously. Johnny was going to be in a red uniform, which is a throwback to, I guess he had that same appearance in some of the comics long ago. They were going to change the Thing a little bit, make him more like the comic looking one. He's still going to be huge and stuff, but it actually looked pretty cool, and I think it would have been a good way for them to kind of recover from that flop and maybe, do another movie eventually. A lot of people have theorized that's probably the best way to bring Fantastic Four back is not give them a whole movie,
their own
but
movie,
have them come in. You're
Yeah.
interested, and then you go see the whole movie.
Kind of like the entire, like the Justice League or any of these where you do
Yes.
the individual movies or the Avengers, you do the individual ones, then bring them all four together.
Exactly.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
I'll provide a link in the show notes, but it's worth checking out. I think it would have been pretty cool. But yeah, that was, I think, why he parted ways with, I think it was him and Ryan Reynolds mainly. I think Deadpool 2 still turned out just fine. I don't know if you guys enjoyed
Haven't seen it yet. It's on my list.
Yeah,
so.
definitely worth it.
Very good. It's a lot of fun.
Awesome.
Yeah. Domino was just amazing. Loved her.
Oh, yeah, of course. And then I got one more thing. It's on Amazon Prime right now. It's underrated movie, I would say. Sneakers, not the shoe, but it's a movie called Sneakers. It stars Robert Redford, Dan Aykroyd, Ben Kingsley, Sidney Poitier, and River Phoenix. It's a really good film.
Did you say River Phoenix?
Yes.
So it's an older film.
One of
it's
his
not
last
new.
films.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
This came out in '92. He
Got
might
it.
have been dead before it came out. It's tragic, but
Yeah.
I think they just released a lost film of his. That was actually his final film. But yeah, all-star cast. It's basically about a security pro's past coming back to haunt him when he and his unique team are tasked with retrieving a particular important item. It's really cool. A lot of espionage.
Cool.
Just good team dynamic. It's a movie you could probably see over and over again.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's on Amazon Prime right now for free. So I totally recommend it.
Nice.
Check it out.
I'm ashamed to admit it, and hopefully you can edit it out entirely, but Glow on Netflix. Gorgeous Ladies of Wrestling.
Yeah.
Oh, I've heard about that. Yeah.
I haven't seen it.
It is hilarious.
Yeah.
There's great drama. I mean, I I was roped into it just because a friend of mine kept needling me, and I'm like, oh my God. And so I watched it. Then I watched like 4 in a row. It was really, really good.
Nice.
I have 1 episode left in season 1. Season 2's already out, so I'll be able to watch that. But happily surprised, man. I give that thing 4 out of 5 easy.
In my past, I have watched a lot of professional wrestling, so I will probably check it out.
Same here.
Yeah.
A lot, and there's a lot of love towards that in the show, which is pretty cool. And you see some wrestlers that come in and help train and that sort of thing. Yeah. It's really neat,
The premise is she's an actress, right?
She's an actress, and there's a couple of them. Alison Brie's character, and then I forget the other main character's name, but they're both actual legit actresses, and this is just a job to them. But then it turns into more than just that. They start liking what they're doing, and it kind of goes from this seedy director guy starts the whole thing, and he's just the biggest jerk on the planet.
Mark Maron, I think.
Yeah, and it's brilliantly played, and it's a lot of fun. Yeah,
that's on my watch list. My wife and I both want to see it, so I have to wait.
Well, and my wife, she's been really busy with work and stuff lately, but I told her the other day it's a crime that she's not watching this, and I'll rewatch the entire damn thing just to get her on board.
Nice.
You got another season ahead of you, so that's awesome.
So fun show. Check it out.
So obviously, Infinity War came out on Blu-ray last week.
Yes.
Between Saturday and Sunday last weekend, I watched it twice.
Nice.
Just with friends that were over that hadn't seen it. Rewatchability is there.
Yeah.
I mean, every time you watch it, you pick up something else. You notice a new detail, things like that. I haven't had a chance to dive into the special effects yet, but special features.
Special effects are included.
Right, they are. Yeah. But I'm very anxious to do that. Like deleted scenes, I always like those. If there's like a gag reel, like the little features on how they did certain pieces of CGI or whatever. So
that stuff's great.
Yeah, I love that.
Oh, what they did with Thanos is just that's a huge achievement. I mean,
it is. Like he's entirely CGI. He's nuanced.
Great. Yeah.
You can almost kind of sympathize with him in places. Yeah. I don't know.
I know it's like you feel for him.
Yeah,
you do.
Like,
well, and he has such a good backstory and something that's really personable. You know, oftentimes we get these villains where we have gotten these old villains of yesteryear where it was black and white. I'm going to do whatever I want, and that's just the way I want my evil reign to be this way. And he really comes in with this great problem that really is present in the real world, and he tries to come up with his own solution for it,
which just happens to be horrible. But
it's the wrong approach. But I don't know, like the entire fact that, and I need to see it again, but just how relatable it is to our current society and everything that's going on in the world today and how to solve problems. And it really does a great job of bringing about discussion.
And what I really like is that deviation from the comics, because in the comics, he was trying to impress Lady Death, and that was his whole motivation for doing what he was doing. So I think presenting it from the perspective of a relatable problem was a good move for them.
Yes, I agree.
And I would say arguably better than the original intent.
Yeah.
And look at Thanos compared to Steppenwolf in Justice League.
Right.
Steppenwolf's just an asshole. You know, I mean, and there's no question that Thanos is one of those as well. But I mean, at the same time, the motivation.
There's some depth.
A lot of depth. You know, and I'm a DC guy at heart, but I'll tell you, Infinity War was infinitely better than.
Well, I don't even think they did that actor in a mocap suit for Steppenwolf. He might have just been in a booth. I don't know, but what they did with Thanos, like.
And Josh Brolin, amazing.
Man, I'm happy for him.
Yeah,
man,
and then to have him be Cable as well. And
exactly.
And
Ryan Reynolds calls him Thanos that one time. That was hilarious.
Well, I watched Deadpool 2 last night, and you don't lose him in Thanos, even though all that skin's there. His expressions, like you can see him in there still.
You can tell him there.
I mean, to an extent, it's kind of like Andy Serkis versus Gollum, right?
Right.
Yeah.
You watch Andy Serkis talk, and you're like, oh,
yeah,
Smeagol.
Right.
Well, and getting back to the Oscars, that is a category that should be introduced.
Yeah.
I mean, man,
that's
incredible. You could nominate tons of people to do that. I mean, Mark Ruffalo does it. He got trained by Andy Serkis, I think, to do it. But
why the hell hasn't Andy Serkis won? That's my question. I
mean, from the Planet of the Apes movies, the Lord of the Rings movies.
He's a great actor.
Yeah.
I mean,
and at least an appreciation award of some sort. This guy, he's just phenomenal.
Yeah.
Great
well,
stuff.
maybe 20, 30 years down the road, you'll get an honorary Oscar that we won't watch because
we'll watch the Netflix show Old Andy Circus, and
Oscars will be 1 hour long.
Yeah.
They're just going to run the list of people who won.
They're just going to Skype people in to give their presentations. You just click the red button when they're done.
Right, exactly. Well, that's all I have, guys. So if you got anything else, you good to go?
Just wanted to say thanks for having us on.
Oh, that was a lot of fun.
It's been a blast.
Yeah,
we appreciate
likewise.
it. And we would definitely like to have you guys on our cast as well.
We'd love to.
We'd love to, yeah. This was very, very fun. So thanks for being on. And, anytime. You guys are off to a great start. And
Thank you.
It's a journey, but
it's
love it.
Great to, we're 10 episodes in right now, and you guys are 104, 105, right? So it's good to have people that have been doing this for a lot longer. It's like, okay, we can see where this is going to evolve.
Right,
we can see where we're going. So appreciate that.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Such a great community that we've entered into. You guys just have been so welcoming and so open about the process that you guys go through in your podcasting, and I feel like the more of us here in the area that kind of get together and do these sorts of things, the better off we'll be.
Yeah, agreed.
It's good representation.
It really is.
Iowa,
yeah.
we have geeks here.
Yeah.
They're not all farmers.
Yeah. Right.
Have to remind people.
I mean, most of us are, but some of us
right.
Right. There's a few of us here on the paved roads,
Right. Yeah, we got that new theater coming out in Waukee. It's got solar panels.
That's true.
What's up?
I saw that.
Yeah.
And they're building a brand new one up in Ankeny as well.
Are they? Oh, that's right. It's going to be a bowling alley. And
like over by the Jethros,
Oh, nice. They closed the other theater, right?
They're going to. So the company that's putting up the new one purchased the old one. Okay. And then after the new one opens up, they're going to shutter the old one.
Oh. So it's not Fridley property up there anymore, right? I think Fridley Theaters runs that in Copper Creek.
Right. I think Fridley will still own it until, like, I want to say I don't think the transition date has happened yet. Like,
maybe
it's coming.
Yeah.
I feel like it's soon. Maybe it has already happened.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
But it was originally when it was announced, they had the date several months in advance.
Sure. Sometimes I just make stuff up. I don't remember.
That's all I do.
Fridley's putting all their resources into that Waukee one. That's going to be fantastic. We're going to have an IMAX screen, a regular IMAX screen.
Really cool.
Oh, like the flat?
Awesome. Yes.
Not like the dome?
Wow. I've been dying for that.
Yes.
Because
you lose
Zoo
something
has
if you
one,
go
right?
to Science Center. I can't do it.
It's overwhelming almost.
The film is just kind of ruined. It
like some of the dimensions get warped. Like if the doorways look curved.
Yeah,
it's not a good experience.
Right seat.
Yeah,
you get down below, you're like this the whole time.
Yep,
I can't see the whole movie.
Take ibuprofen for afterward.
Mm-hmm.
They should give it to you as you walk in.
Yeah,
we're sorry.
There's a massage therapist outside just giving her card out.
Yeah,
oh, that's a good idea. Yeah.
You guys want to plug your show one more time?
Yeah, again, we are the Doctors Who podcast. We are on iTunes. We are on Google Play Music or whatever they call it.
Whatever it is now. It'll be different in a week, probably.
Check your favorite podcast app as well, because a lot of those seed from those main two. If you're looking for us online, the Doctors Who podcast on Facebook, at tdwpodcast on Instagram and Twitter, and then tdwpodcast@gmail.com if you'd like to reach out directly.
Nice.
Excellent.
I followed you guys on Facebook during the show, so I
awesome.
went in and looked.
Sweet.
So.
It's already working.
It's already working.
Right?
Yeah.
Wow. Power of advertising.
There you go.
Exactly. Networking.
Yeah.
It's fantastic. All right. Well, thanks for being on, guys.
Thank you.
We'll be back next week. I'm Josh.
I'm Steve.
Take care.